Divine command theory. This is the idea that what makes something right or wrong is that God or the gods, depending on your religion, say that it's right or wrong. So what would make murder, in this case, wrong is if God has said not to murder. Now, I'm going to use the Bible as some examples here just because that's probably the context that many Westerners in America are in, but this would apply equally to the Talmud, this would apply to the Tanakh, this would apply to the Vedas, this would apply to the Quran. The idea, though, is that what makes something right or wrong is that God has said it's right or wrong. Now, again, to be clear, that doesn't necessarily mean that view is wrong. If God exists and he has revealed himself, then that would not be a bad answer. That would actually be a pretty smart answer. The reason I say that it's lazy is you're going to have to deal with some other issues, even if divine command theory were right. Let me give you a few examples. The first is called the Euthyphro dilemma. Does God say that something's good and that makes it good, or does he see that it's already good and therefore declares it to be good? So if you say murder is bad because God said murder is bad, the question that people will then ask is, okay, why did he say murder was bad? Did he just decide that it would be bad? It makes him sound almost a bit arbitrary. Conversely, though, you don't want to say that God sees that something's already good and just says it's good. Like he looks and says, well, murder's bad, so I'm going to say that's bad, or rape is bad, so I'm going to say that's bad, because then it almost seems to put some sort of moral standard above God. So divine command theory could be true, but it just pushes the question back further of, does God think something's good because he simply declares it to be good? It's part of his will. He decides it. Or does his intellect see that it's already good, and that's why he calls it good? But to say it another way, are all of God's commands just arbitrary? Everything he said is good just because he said it, and just because it's bad just because he said it was bad? Now, again, arbitrary, we're talking about arbitrary from our perspective. Technically, if God exists, then he might have a reason for something that he hasn't told us, and it wouldn't technically be arbitrary. But anyway, that is an issue that you have to deal with. Religious people have come down on both sides of that, but that's a problem with divine command theory. What about when two things are commanded? This is why you still have to have philosophy. The Bible is going to command you not to lie, but there are times in the Bible where people lie and it seems like it's okay. There's the Hebrew midwives with Pharaoh who's killing all the babies, and they lie to Pharaoh so they can save the Hebrew babies. There's a chick named Rahab in the Old Testament, and she lies to protect the Hebrew spies, and she's commended for it. What do you do if you're supposed to obey your father and mother, and they ask you to do opposite things, and neither of which is technically sin? They're just two commands, and you're going to disobey one by obeying the other. So what do you do when God has given several commands that, at least in certain circumstances, seem to butt up against each other? So you're still going to have to do philosophy, regardless of your view on divine command theory.